Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And today, I kind of wanted to talk about this conversation between Squadron 42 and GTA 6. Now, I know I'm very late to this conversation, but after further reflection, I wanted to add my 2 cents. So, this all was sparked because of an interview that took place about a month ago with CIG Montreal and a gaming outlet where essentially uh, some comparisons were made. So I first want to go through and read exactly what was said and then kind of talk about it and why I don't think it's a crazy comparison. So exactly what was said was we're hoping it'll be an event almost as important as GTA 6. Apart from GTA 6, Squadron 42 is probably the most important AAA budget game. And they're basically saying that, you know, it's probably the most important AAA budget game aside from GTA 6 in the year 2026. And if you think about the games that's releasing in 2026, they are very big games, but are they as important as Squadron 42? Well, for CIG, Squadron 42 is pivotal, right? This game is essentially something that they've been working on for when it releases over 13 years, right? This is a game that has on its own will probably total in budget over $500 million, right? With both Squadron 42 and the Persistent Universe totaling $1 billion. Right now it's over 800 million. But again, I'm talking about when it is actually released in 2026. So you look at the studio that has, about 1,000 employees, 13 years in development, $500 million budget, entire slew of actors and talent, motion capture. This game is hugely ambitious. And if you're comparing it to other games that are as ambitious, there really isn't many others that are going to be coming out in 2026. The two most ambitious games that are set to release in 2026 are going to be GTA 6 and Squadron 42 from a technological standpoint. The second thing you have to keep in mind is the precedence that both of these games are going to have on gaming culture. GTA 6 has been in development probably as long as Squadron 42 at this point, right? From around 2016 is what most people are estimating Rockstar started working on GTA 6. That's just the time frame. Again, you have the amount of money, you have the amount of devs, you have the scope of the game. So people have been waiting a long time for GTA 6, and people have been waiting a long time for Squadron 42 and Star Citizen to come out. With people waiting that long for a game, there's a lot of anticipation around it. Both of these games, people have been waiting over a decade for, right? So you have two groups of gamers that have been waiting for over a decade for their games, and they're both coming out in the same year, right? So there's a comparison right there. The second is going to be the cultural impact. GTA 6 will have a huge cultural impact on the gaming industry and the gaming landscape because from a technological standpoint, it is going to be revolutionary, right? GTA has always been a hugely ambitious game. Now, when GTA 6 does release, almost everybody will play it, and that will introduce them to all of these new mechanics that completely change the gaming landscape, just as GTA 5 did. Star Citizen is a seamless game. You don't have loading screens when you do these major things. You move around in the world freely, right? This is a huge shift in gaming where you've already seen this affect other games, right? With games like Starfield. People uh, were hugely disappointed in the fact that there were so many loading screens. Let's just be honest. It is going to set a new benchmark again in terms of space games, right? As GTA sets a new benchmark and a new precedent for open world games, Star Citizen and Squadron 42 is going to set a new precedence for space games. Entering into a game and being able to seamlessly fly anywhere, that is a huge shift. And I guess you could compare it to another new game that's coming up, Mass Effect. Okay, the new Mass Effect game is another game that has been in development for a very long time. Now, you tell me, ask yourself this question. Squadron 42 comes out and is amazing. Are players going to compare the new Mass Effect game to Squadron 42? Are they going to say, again, this is just hypothetical, let's say the new Mass Effect game has loading screens. Are people going to say, hey, Star Citizen Squadron 42 did it without loading screens? They might. That is a reality that we're looking at in the future. Of course, again, I'm an old gamer. I will play Mass Effect based on the nostalgia. But new players coming in, the next generation that's hearing, hey, there's a new Mass Effect game. A lot of people are talking about it. Is this game better than the game that they've already played, Squadron 42? And they're going to compare it to a game that they've already played. Just like they compared No Man's Sky to Starfield. Why does this game have loading screens? Why does this game not look, cinematic and all this other stuff? With the graphics, why does this game not have ray tracing and HOTAS support and all this stuff? Why would I play this when I could just go play Squadron 42? Right? Why would I play Star Citizen when I could just go play No Man's Sky? People say that right now, right? And I think the last biggest comparison is that people have always compared Star Citizen with GTA 6. Now, of course, this is just anecdotal, but I recently talked to a coworker of mine, and we were just talking about video games, and they asked me what video games I was currently playing, and I told them that I was playing Star Citizen. And their exact response, their exact quote was, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that game. It's like GTA in space." And I was like, yeah. Because the reality is, the uninitiated, they're going to need a way to understand what Star Citizen is in the simplest way possible. And the average person, your regular gamer, that is how they describe Star Citizen. That is how many of us describe Star Citizen to new players, is that it's like GTA in space. So I think there's a lot of people that already see that comparison between Star Citizen and GTA 6 to be a valid one, right? Where you can essentially get in, you can steal ships, you can, do different things with other players, you can take bounties. There is that in GTA Online and whatnot. You could be a criminal, right, in space, as you can be a criminal in GTA. Now, obviously, there are different levels to it. But again, I think CIG's uniquely positioned with Star Citizen because it's its own story, right? It has lore, it has a universe, it has characters that you're going to find attachment to. When Squadron 42 comes out, Star Citizen is going to move from a generic space game to Star Citizen, right? People are going to know Star Citizen as Star Citizen and not a generic space game. And they're going to play Star Citizen not because they want to play a generic space game, but because they want to live in this world that Chris Roberts and the team at CIG has crafted. Just as, people want to live in the world of Mass Effect, people want to live in the world of Fallout 4. And when a gaming studio crafts a world for the player to live in with deep and rich lore, characters to follow, storylines to get, into, then you get a player base that is invested in the game, not because of its technology, not because of its scope, but because they genuinely like the story. They genuinely want to see what happened to the characters. They generally just want to exist in the world. And right now, Star Citizen doesn't really have that. But when Squadron 42 comes out, it will set that precedence where people get that tangible connection to the game where they're like, oh, okay, I could play No Man's Sky, but Terra doesn't exist in No Man's Sky. Stanton doesn't exist in No Man's Sky. Pyro doesn't exist in No Man's Sky, right? These characters don't exist in No Man's Sky. So I want to play Star Citizen because I want to be in that world. I want to live in this story. And Squadron 42 is going to offer that to new players and returning players. So the impact that that's going to have to the gaming landscape, to the gaming culture, is going to be different from, okay, Star Citizen is a scam, to it's a game that I want to be in because of the story that they've told here. So in my personal opinion, Squadron 42 is going to be very important. Probably, almost as important as GTA 6, as they said in that quote, because it's CIG's one opportunity, right, to change the narrative. And any gamer who's tapped in at all with what Star Citizen is or isn't, they're going to want to see what it's all about. They're going to want to see what CIG has finally created. If it's a failure, they're going to laugh at it. And if it's successful, they're going to be like, wow, these crazy people actually did it. And that's going to draw in a lot more people, in my personal opinion, than what many people assume. And realistically, if you run the numbers, if Squadron 42 sells 5 million copies in its first year, you're still looking at $300 million at $60 a game. $300 million is more than 2 years of revenue from the persistent universe. This infusion of revenue for CIG is going to be hugely impactful for the game. So again, even if Squadron 42 does very modest numbers, it's going to be a home run slam dunk for CIG, because again, they're not going to have to really worry about Steam sales because they have their own launcher, and they've already spent all the money to produce the game. So even though they wouldn't make a profit at only 5 million copies sold, all of that money is going to be new money into the studio for them to do whatever they want with. So that's going to be it for me here, you guys. I want to thank you again for hanging out with me. Again, I want to hear everything that you guys think about this topic in the comments down below. I think it's a really good discussion to have. But like I always say at the end of these videos, you guys, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Salute!